In this video, we're going to talk about the equi-marginal principle. This is the idea that the rational consumer will consume goods in the ratio which gives an equal marginal utility per pound or dollar spent on each good. Okay, so for example, they will consume goods in the ratio where the marginal utility of good A divided by the price of good A is equal to the marginal utility of good B over the price of good B. So on the table that I've got here on this slide, you can see different quantities of goods A and B from 1 to 6, and the price of good A is always 10, and the marginal utility of good A falls from 10 to 0. That's because of the law of diminishing marginal returns. And again, with good B, we can see the price is always 12 and the marginal utility falls from 6 to 1. So on this slide, filled in the next column, which is the marginal utility divided by price for each product. So you can see that for good A, the marginal utility divided by price is 1, then it's 0.8, 0.6, 0.4, 0.2 and 0 as we add additional units of consumption. And for good B, it's 0.5, 0.4, 0.3, 0.25, 0.15 and 0.1. And then we use those figures to identify where the marginal utility divided by the price is equal for both of those products. So we can see that it's equal at 0.4. Okay, so if we consume 4 units of good A for every 2 units of good B, we are in equilibrium. So 4 to 2 units, or expressed another way, 2 to 1 units. So we will consume 2 of good A for every 1 of good B that we consume. Okay, so now we're going to change one of those variables, and the variable we're going to change is the price of good A. The price of good A has fallen from 10 to 8. And we can now see that the matching marginal utilities per price are the 0.25s there. So we're going to consume 5 of good A for every 4 of good B that we consume. So we can see that the price of good A has fallen and the consumption of good A has risen from 4 to 5. So that kind of proves the downward sloping nature of the demand curve. On this slide, we have returned to our original price of good A of £10 per unit, but we have reduced the marginal utility gained from consumption of good B. We can see here that the common marginal utility over price is 0.4, so we will consume 4 units of good A for every 1 unit of good B. So we can see that the consumption of good B has gone down because the marginal utility derived from consuming good B has gone down. So that explains the position of the demand curve. So we can use indifference curves and budget lines or the equi-marginal principle to explain the shape and position of the demand curve. Both can be used to show the downward sloping nature of the demand curve, the negative correlation between price and quantity demanded, and both can also be used to explain the position of the demand curve here, determined by the marginal utility derived from consumption. Perhaps we could link that to advertising or taste and fashions. And with the indifference curves and budget line models, then we're talking about income and also the price of other goods.